If you could go back and tell your young self that you'll be on stage with Nuno Betancourt, AX7, and Warren Mendoza, how would your younger self react to that?
Like to be honest, my younger self wouldn't even know all these names back then. I started playing the guitar when I was 17 or 18. My younger self back then would not believe it. Like I was just
Yeah.
playing guitar for myself as a hobby. I wasn't like too good for my engineering or whatever I was pursuing at that time. Playing guitar just happened, kind of grew into my life.
What was the music that you grew up to?
I remember like in my home we used to play a lot of classic rock, a lot of
Okay.
Yanni back then, a lot of pop music. We had these cassettes and CD players back then, listening to Punjabi music. That was kind of natural. I think the turning point was when I started listening to bands like Pink Floyd, bands like Led Zeppelin, and all these classic rock bands that you can think of.
So, are there any non-guitarist inspirations for the music that you do? Is it possible Sutej likes Enya? Because I can hear a bit of Enya somewhere.
For my musical influences, it's generally good music from anywhere. It could be pop, it could be prog or anything like 80s, 90s pop. Those moments where there are these key changes all of a sudden, the soulful solos in those moments, that really struck me. And I wanted
Okay.
those kind of pieces to be in my music, but I also was a big fan of prog music, also a big fan of Dream Theater, John Petrucci. I wanted to become like him. Yeah, he was always my hero. Like David Gilmour and John Petrucci, they're like my biggest heroes.
How excited were you when you found out that Dream Theater covered the entire Dark Side of the Moon album?
Yeah, so the cross between Pink Floyd and Dream Theater, again, it was such a gift.
It was like that day when you find out that there's an episode of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle where they have a crossover with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I'm like, what are these two
Yeah.
universes together?
They were like true to the originals as well, which was
Absolutely,
the best
absolutely.
part.
If you could have any artist of any instrument play on one of your songs along with you, and they could be dead or alive, who would
Hmm.
you choose and what song would you choose?
A Gilmore solo in one of my albums. Every one of his solos are legendary and so
Absolutely.
inspiring. A thing of beauty.
I was listening to a friend who had a vinyl of Give My Regards to Broad Street, Paul McCartney's album,
Right.
and No More Lonely Night song is there.
Uh,
And I was like, hey, did you know that's a David Gilmour solo? He's like, what? There are two versions where David Gilmour keeps playing and they fade out at the end. And the weirdest part, Sudhej, if you listen to the extended version, there's a key change half a second before the end of the song. I'm like, no, he's just changed the key. That means there's more. Sudhej Singh is the man we want to send out into the universe. So we are
hmm.
going to put you in a rocket and we're going to send you out. But the
Right.
problem is, you can take 5 albums with you, which you can listen for the rest of your life. Also, tell extraterrestrials this is what music is.
I'm gonna take my album first. The Emerging, that's number one. Number two is Dark Side of the Moon. We're talking about the universe.
Mm.
Emotion and Commotion by Jeff Beck. One of my favorite albums. Let's say Metropolis Part 2. Final one, I would say. Can I choose another Dream Theater one?
You are the one who's going to be with it for the rest of your life. It's up to you.
I think Black Clouds and Silver Linings. Yeah,
Interesting choice.
yeah, yeah.
Interesting choice.